Love him or loathe him, Nigel Farage is probably more important to British politics than he ever has been before. You almost certainly know who he is. You probably know what he stands for, but do you know the story of where he came from? A hard right-winger since he was at school, Nigel Farage's journey has taken him from the trading floors of the City of London to the leader of a fringe party in Brussels, to the triumph of the Brexit campaign in 2016, and now possibly to the brink of being Prime Minister. In this three-part series, we'll trace that journey, find out what it is that drives Nigel Farage, and explore how his past shaped the politician that he is today. Welcome to History Counts. If, like me, you believe that the key to understanding the present is to understand the past, then please do subscribe. Every week I make a new video looking at how the headlines of today have a past that matters. Nigel Farage was born in 1964 in Kent. His father was a stockbroker and he attended the private Dulwich College in South London. Journalists at Channel 4 and the reporter Michael Crick have uncovered evidence that some of his teachers at school were concerned about Farage's hard right political views. Some of them seemed to consider him to be a potential fascist and felt that those views meant that he was unsuitable to become a prefect. Controversy then has stalked Nigel Farage from a young age. He left school in 1982, but he didn't go to university. Instead, he went to the trading floors of the City of London to work as a metals trader. The Square Mile in the 1980s was a high-octane place. It was riding the wave of Thatcher's deregulation. Alcohol was everywhere. Money was everywhere. That's a culture that Nigel Farage, in some ways, has taken with him throughout his whole career. It was also in the 80s that he experienced the first of what is an unusually high number of near-death experiences. He survived being hit by a car and a diagnosis with testicular cancer. He's since gone on to say that those experiences shaped his life and gave him a sense of purpose. It was in this period as well that Nigel Farage really began to form his anti-European views against what he considered to be a meddling Brussels. All that came to a head in 1992 with the signing of the Maastricht Treaty. In many ways, that was the first defining political moment of Nigel Farage's career, his political awakening, if you like. The Maastricht Treaty massively expanded the reach, power and influence of the European Union. Eurosceptics like Nigel Farage hated it. Farage, now in his late 20s, was a member of the Conservative Party, but John Major, the leader of the Conservative Party and the Prime Minister at the time, had signed the treaty, and Farage quit the party in disgust. The EU, to his mind, was a threat to British democracy. Within 2 years, Nigel Farage had become a founding member of the UK Independence Party, a small fringe party that was going to campaign for Britain to leave the European Union. At that point in the 1990s, such a view was seen as pretty marginal within British politics, something quite eccentric. He spent much of the decade building his public profile, running in hopeless by-elections, but in 1999 he was finally elected to the European Parliament as an MEP for the southeast of England. Nigel Farage was now inside the beast he so despised, and he would go on over the next couple of decades to shape its future in ways which would have been unthinkable at the turn of the millennium. Next week, we'll chart Nigel Farage and UKIP's early political successes in the noughties, their rise to huge national prominence in the 2010s, all the way through to the era-defining Brexit victory in 2016. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you've enjoyed it, please do subscribe and leave your feedback in the comments below. We'll be back next week.